Yeah.
All right, welcome everybody. This is episode number 16 of the Veilcast. Today, it has finally happened. It is the day we have long awaited. Some of us have dreaded. Well, I should say some of them because I don't think anyone in this stream has actually dreaded it. But Stealth has arrived. It is here. Well, sort of here. We have the announcement of the Stealth stretch goal. They have put it up earlier this week. There was talk of a possible live stream to talk about it. That hasn't happened yet, but it should be upcoming, we hope. Until
Hopefully
then,
next week.
yeah, hopefully next week. I'm assuming they're not going to do it today or tomorrow, so hopefully next week. But for now, you have myself, and we have Chris. How are you doing today, Chris?
I'm good. Back from vacation for a week now. Back from Denmark.
Yeah, we missed you during the last episode.
Yeah, I saw that.
You were having way too much fun, I'm sure, without us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, Ziz is
And
not
Ziz,
going to be
he's
here with
slacking.
us today. He is a slacker. He's not feeling well today, so I have taken over. Me and my omnipresent squid hat, which is actually acting through me. I'm not even here. I'm not really controlling myself. The tentacles are
It's
in
a
my
head.
brain.
It's actually not a squid. It's a head crab.
In all honesty, this is my disguise. Since we're talking about stealth today, I'm masquerading as a squid. So, moving into the meat of the topic, let's discuss the thing that has made many people excited and many other people kind of want to crap their pants, and several other people sigh disappointedly. Stealth.
Yeah.
The stealth stretch goal. They announced it this week. We've been waiting for it. As I said, a lot of people have been really dreading it.
Yeah.
Afraid of what it was going to contain. On both sides, people who don't want stealth and people who really want certain types of stealth, which this may or may not fall into. It's a very
The
controversial
topic
thing.
was heated on the forum. Let's say
For a year,
It
for
was-
like a year and a half.
it was, and the thread about the stretch goal, the something to think about thread, was like, if I remember well, at least 20 or 30 pages of back and forth. It was crazy.
Lots of passionate opinions on both sides of it.
Yes.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the stretch goal a little bit, talk about what they want to achieve, and then we'll talk about how we feel about that. And maybe if y'all want to hop in the chat box, we can see how you feel about it. That would be cool too. So the first thing I just wanted to do was, mention some of their goals, what they're trying to achieve with this stretch goal. And I'm going to post the link here in chat for everybody. That is the link to the full stretch goal description. They have one on the homepage of the website that kind of talks about it very briefly, but that is the full shebang. That is everything. They go on for pages and pages. I wrote a brief summary.
It is a long one.
Yeah, I wrote a brief summary for it on Realms Unchained, and my summary was still like 2 pages long. So, anyway, they have several goals they're trying to achieve with this stretch goal. The first one, they want stealth mechanics to be fun, of course. They want to not have any classes that are based on a super strong opener, a stun, and then a vanish mechanic, kind of the standard assassin build that we've
The I win
seen.
button.
Yeah, the I win button, as some people like to call it. But they still want it to be a desperately sought-after class. They still want it to be something that's really useful, something that requires skill to play. It's not an easy class. They also want to avoid having gank groups. And what they mean by gank groups is having a whole group of stealthers that are moving around together to kill 1 or 2 guys at a time. Not necessarily a group of stealthers, fighting a battle or anything, but a group of them that are just out in the countryside hunting down the 1 or 2 lone guy that's riding around. They want to avoid that. And perhaps most importantly for some of us, and certainly important for them, they want something that does not hurt the launch date of the game. How do you feel about these goals, Chris?
I like them. I really enjoy actually one of the goals, which is a class not easy to play with a high skill gap, because stealthers are usually pretty powerful. Even the way they treat them, they're going to be, I think in some battles, there are going to be some deciding factors. So having a class that requires skill and strategy, definitely seeing their abilities, is something that I really like, because if it's too easy, everybody does that, and that becomes unbalanced again. I like every class needs to have a certain skill gap and a certain play style that you need to adapt to.
Yeah, I think that having it require skill is big, especially because I don't want to. I like stealth. I love having stealth as an element of a game, but I don't want to see 50% of the population being stealth classes, and
Yep,
that's a possibility. It's not something I would want
it
to see.
is.
Um, I think for me, the most one of the most important things is that they don't want the standard like rogue style assassin build. They don't
Yep.
want something that just pops out of stealth, stabs you, hits you with a stun, stabs you in the kidney, and then disappears in stealth again. I really don't like that. Not because I feel like they constantly gank me and are able to kill me or anything like that. I've seen some people talk about that. They're like, they essentially have the people that are for that seem to sometimes have the impression that people that don't want that don't want it because they just don't want to get killed.
They've
They
been
don't want,
targets already.
yeah,
Yeah,
they don't want to get pwned. For me, it's more about not being able to fight back. It's because
yeah,
usually I usually end up playing
definitely.
tanks, so I don't necessarily get owned by those guys. They pop out, they stun me, they start stabbing me, and I'm just kind of like ow, 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 and then I come out of my stun, and then they vanish, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not
Yeah,
dead, but I'm annoyed
because
because I
you
had
can't
6 seconds I
fight.
couldn't do anything.
It's not a fight. It's not a fight.
Yeah,
That's and in a PvP focused game. In PvE, it's annoying, but you have other activities. In PvP, it's everything you do. It impacts
yeah.
every aspect of the game. So if you can't fight back, even if you're not certain to win, at least fighting back. And the stun lock cycles and strong openers is one problem with a rogue type. I've played stealth. I've played a rogue in a few games. Um, I like the playstyle, but it's true that sometimes it's not enjoyable. I like a fight. I like adrenaline. I play PvP for the adrenaline of fighting other players. If you just get out of stealth, stab somebody, kill him, and go back to stealth, why not fight mobs? Just not players.
Yeah, I mean, as Rhaegar just said in the chat, take Vanish out and you're done. I think there's ways to
Yeah.
have an assassin-like build where it's balanced,
Mm.
like that. And they mentioned I'm gonna bring it up a little bit later on, but with the Veil Walkers and the Veil Stalkers, they still have them wanting to be an assassin-like type build for the people that want to do DPS, but you take the vanish maybe out of the equation, or you can balance it around that so that if they can't just emergency vanish out of there, then that's not so bad. That's not so annoying. And maybe instead of having hard stuns, they have other types of disruption type stuff they can
Debuffs,
do.
disruptions. Yeah, that's exactly what they said, and that's what I like. Also, debuffs, disruption, magic, disruption abilities. You don't have to be a good stealth class. You don't have to be a burst DPS.
Yeah,
You can be highly mobile, because stealth allows you to be highly mobile. So you can be mobile support, debuff, disruption magic. You can be inside the enemy's lines and really disrupt things. You don't have to one shot half the battlefield to really be useful.
yeah, and what I think I don't think the burst DPS concept really even fits with this game, and I think that's the message they've been trying to get across because they want a slower combat style. So no one is
Yes.
supposed to be able to pop out and 2-shot, 3-shot somebody and drop them. It's supposed to be a slower combat, and that's why they also said in this announcement what they're doing with the stealth is they're breaking stealth into different categories. They're not going to create a
Yes.
single stealth class that can do everything. Instead, they're splitting
And
it up.
I was really happy to read that. That was one of the things that made me really happy, because there's a lot of versatility in the three classes, the three stealth classes that they announced. I really like how they broke it down, and I like, as you said, slower combat, longer time to kill. If the combat is ends in 5-10 seconds, you don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
At least double that at minimum.
Yeah, I really agree with the concept that by splitting them into like essentially three different groups, they can have each group is essentially its own very focused class, which is what they've been trying to do.
Yes.
Warriors are kind of focused on doing one type of thing, maybe two. Healers, they heal.
Yeah.
It's their archetype. It's what they do. Mages mage, healers heal, fighters fight. Rogues, well, instead of having one rogue that does all roguish things, you have scout that scouts, archer sneaks around, uses his bow, and the assassin type
Veilwalker and
characters, the Veilwalker and the
yeah.
Veil Stalker, they sneak up behind you and stab you in the neck. That's what they do. So I guess starting with archers, they did mention the archers as kind of part of the stealth system in that they have an improved camouflage system of some sort. They didn't really go into detail with it much. Every class has the ability to use camouflage, but it's going to be very, very limited. They can't
Yeah.
use it everywhere. It's not going to be super effective all the time. But the archers are going to have somehow better camouflage, maybe. That's still not invisibility. They're not invisible.
Yeah.
But they just have like an improved camouflage, improved ability, I guess, to move through the woods and not be seen by people. And
I think basically to those who didn't read everything, to sum up the difference between archers and everybody else who has camo is like soldiers in camouflage and snipers. A real
yeah,
sniper goes out, he moves in unseen, while the battle dresses for the soldiers just makes them harder to target. But it's you can still see them, especially if they have the wrong type of camo, which they talked about also. While the archer is the sniper, if he stays still, you don't see it. You don't see him in the scenery.
yeah, I think I wasn't really very interested in the archer class until
I
they kind of
am.
started talking about the advanced camouflage and everything, and then I was like, I might want to make an archer because to me it
Yep.
actually sounds more like the archer. It is almost like the typical burst DPS
Yes.
assassin build just from a range. Not by himself
Yep.
though. Like to me the concept doesn't work that well by itself. I mean, I'm sure you can solo with it, but to me, it sounds almost better with a pair or two or three of them, which again is how snipers work
Yeah.
anyway. So you have like two or three of them
Exactly.
in a group. You sneak into an area, and then you pick targets. All right, we're gonna kill that
Yeah.
healer over there, and you start shooting him, kill him. They may attack you
Cutting
and kill
supply
you,
lines.
but you sneak up on people and attack them. But you
Hmm.
can't just invisible and sneak all over the map. You're still kind of restricted.
Exactly.
You have to
But
plan.
it's a real what I like and what makes me think I might actually do an archer as an alt is you can set ambushes. That's the ultimate class for ambushes.
Yeah,
2, 3, because we'll talk about that later in the show. But contrary to the Veil Walkers and Bait Stalkers, if you have 5 archers in a small area, they they they're not more noticeable than if there's only one. So you can cut supply lines like that, or surround while the main force is doing a siege. You just move around and make sure there's no reinforcements or anything.
yeah.
That's what really makes me excited about the archer.
Yeah, that's what really caught my interest because I feel like the archer is going to require preparation and planning. You're going to have to if you really want to impact a lot of stuff. Otherwise, you could just be at the castle with
Yeah,
your bow, defending it, shooting people. You can always
yeah,
do
but
that.
then
But you can,
you're just a ranged DPS.
yeah, yeah.
You're nothing
But you
else.
you have the option to do that. But you can also get
Yes.
outside the keep. You can sneak around. You can go with three or four other guys or girls, sneak around, and you can hit supply lines. You can cut their
Yeah,
reinforcements off. You can do all kinds of stuff, but you're not invisible while you're doing it, so it's more balanced than just having a roving gank group that goes
yeah.
around. Um, Which, of course, brings us to the scouts. Speaking of being able to sneak around unseen for long periods of time, we had some people already talking about the the scouts and how
The
awesome it
scouts.
sounds. James Goblin said it's the ultimate troll class, being able to sneak around, go through walls. They have a telekinesis ability where they can apparently do some stuff to disrupt people
Yeah.
or maybe screw with people. We don't know. So essentially, I guess to update this, the scout will be able to project their spirit outside of their body, astral projection style, and then walk around as a spirit, go through walls, go into people's keeps, maybe spy on them, see what they're doing, find their troop
Yeah.
positions, all kinds of crap.
And that's really interesting because that type of class can be extremely overpowered. But
It's possible.
the drawback they have put in place are really interesting. The thing that you have to plan also because you have to leave your body behind. So that's one part of you that's vulnerable. And there's going to be counters also. You're not completely unseen. Mages or apparently crafter-made devices can detect your spirit. And as they said, if your spirit is captured, you're screwed because you can't get out of spirit mode if you're not reunited with your body. So
Yeah.
that's going to take a lot of preparation, and you won't be able to barge into a keep and just take by yourself the respawn point and screw up everybody because they're going to be protected. So you can't just go around like that. You'll have to be still very careful, even if you're not unseen.
Who you gonna call?
Exactly.
Also, the crafters are going to be able to make things like some type of material to coat walls, possibly to maybe keep them from going through keep walls. So maybe your bigger keeps will be better defended, and scouts can't just walk through it. They won't be able to. They're not at this point. They're not supposed to be able to walk through people or through trees or anything like that. So they do have limitations on where they can go. They can't just go absolutely anywhere. And there are some ways to counter them. So they're not immune. And also, they're especially, I'm sure, not immune to Veil Walkers and Veil Stalkers, who are
Yeah.
the closest thing we have to assassin characters in the game. The Veil Walkers and the Veil Stalkers are the ones that can hop in and out of like the spirit realm. There's actually a picture of them coming up in right now, or there was one up of
Yeah.
them, moving through the veil. They can come into the veil, which does kind of anger the veil. They changed it from the original. Some of the original concepts they'd mentioned possibly doing.
Yeah.
It doesn't. You're not necessarily going to get attacked by NPCs anymore while you're in the veil, which actually I understand. I thought that was a cool idea, but I understand them not doing it because it's a PvP game. Most
Yeah.
people aren't going to want to spend all their time fighting NPCs.
Yeah.
So they won't. So they won't have that, and you will. The longer you're in stealth, when you come out, you will take damage of some sort based on how long you've been in there, just to keep you from being in there forever.
I actually like that also that they changed from a stun debuff to a damage because that means, as they say, you can't just get out of stealth, even because you can always get out of stealth at some area where you are not seen, but then it means you have to wait for your damage to be healed. So you can't just get in the veil and get out and stab somebody and get in again. You will have to be careful.
Yeah, and I really don't think it's gonna hurt people in the midst of battlefields. I don't think that's the point.
Yeah.
I think if there's a battlefield and you're like, I want to go into stealth, sneak over there to that mage, pop out and stab him in the back. I think you'll be able to do that fine. I think you'll go into stealth. You'll go over there, assuming some other stealther does not attack you while you're in stealth. Then you'll be able to
Yeah.
go over there. Unstealth, you probably won't take any damage or very minimal damage. You'll stab him. Now his friends may kill you, but you'll stab him, whatever. Then you won't be able to vanish.
Yeah.
So you're set with whatever your choices in life were. But because choices matter. But
Exactly.
you But it's not. I don't think it's gonna hurt you because that's kind of the point of the class is to be able to sneak up on people and attack them. They want the
Yeah.
stealthers in the battles. They just don't want people to go into stealth, stay there for 3 hours, sneak up on someone, and then kill them. So
Yeah.
if you stayed in stealth for 3 hours, I'm sure you're going to take a whopping huge load of damage when you
Like
come out of
one
stealth.
one dot of HP. You get out with 1 HP.
I'm going to kill you. Oh, no, I'm not.
Oops.
I suddenly feel ill. Also,
I like also that in the battle they said since there's gonna be mages in pretty much every battle
yeah.
that disrupt the veil. The fact that they disrupt the veil, you'll take less damage from getting out of stealth in the middle of a battle than if you were going out of stealth anywhere else.
Yeah, I think that's another huge thing where they're trying to push the Veil Walkers and Veil Stalkers. I think the real focus here is that they want them in the battles. They don't want them roaming
Yes.
around the countryside looking for people to kill. That's kind of the Archer's job a little bit. They want them in the big battles. They want to concentrate most everyone in the battles
Yes.
and fighting over resources. They don't want them spread out, roaming around, looking for one or two guys to
feel
gank.
useful.
They want them...
And also feel useful in
Yeah.
the battles.
Yeah, and they also, to further avoid that, they have it set up so that when there's groups of Veil Walkers and Veil Stalkers together, they will cause Veil Disruption, which will be like noise that people can hear. So if somebody has the game sound on and they're paying attention and you've got 5 buddies and you're trying to sneak up on this one guy who's walking his sad self back to the keep because he died and you're trying to sneak up on him, he might hear you coming up and then he's going to run.
Pretty much.
But you do have long duration stealth. The scout has the best. The scout can, from what we can tell, he seems to be able to be stealthed. Not completely. He's not. There are some counters to him, but he can be stealth pretty much as long as he wants to within reason.
And also, what is also awesome, I don't know if we've seen the pictures coming up, but for the scouts, since you're leaving your body behind, if you plan on going on sieging a keep, and you have your own keep, you can leave your body in your own guild's keep, and your buddies carry your soul in a light, in a lantern. So you can keep your body safe. If it's planned, you can keep your body safe, and you just get carried away pretty much.
Yeah, so they've been really thinking about the scout mechanics. And the Veil Walkers and Veil Stalkers, though, are still intended to have a long duration stealth. It's just not as long. You can't stay in there forever and sneak around and hunt people down while in stealth. It's definitely, I think, going to be more of a walk in normal, find a battle, then go in stealth and walk around till you find whoever you want, or you look for other stealthers and you attack them. As James Goblin said, again, they do want people to be able to play the lone assassin. You don't have to be in groups.
Yeah.
In fact, they're encouraging that. They want stealthers to be solo. Because when you're together, there's certain penalties like the noise that I mentioned. They want them to be alone, so be able to solo a little bit. It's just they want them to be soloing normally, I think, around in battles in groups. They not necessarily groups with other stealthers, but they want them in the big battles or stalking out around a key resource, and they hide out there, wait till somebody goes over there to try to take it, then they stealth and come up behind him and stab him and all that kind of stuff. That's my impression of it anyway.
Yeah, and I like that they added some lore to the Veil Walkers and Veil Stalkers, that it's better. You can go in the Veil with highly defensive armors, metal armors, but you're going to be a lot more noisy, more noticeable. But if
They
you
don't
have
like that.
living armor, yeah, I like the idea of the living armor.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. And the armor that actually comes to life inside the Veil. If you look at the pictures, it really feels, it's not just the armor changing shape, it's the armor actually coming to life inside the Veil. It looks really awesome on the artworks.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool concept for the Veil Walkers and Veil Stalkers. How they can have different outfits. I mean, again, choice matters. It's up to you. You can go in there with metal armor, but it's going to really piss the Veil off. So you're probably going to
Yeah,
make a lot of noise and maybe take extra damage when you come out. You can go in with medium, like hide armor or chain or something, and you're probably going to be better off. Or you can have, I believe they mentioned Veil armor specifically
yes.
made for the Veil, and then you're going to be like
That
top
are
notch
actually, yeah,
assassin mode.
that are actually not living, but non-organic armors, pretty much, because metal and leather are disrupting, making the Veil angry. So you have to have organic armors, which is why they come to life inside the Veil.
Yeah, I really think the armor thing is cool because I like how they're tying crafting back into this entire stealth system. It's
Yeah.
really kind of neat how it works out. They've got the armor systems for the Veil Walker and the Veil Stalker. They can make the living armor. They can make the other armor, of course, which probably has
Yeah.
modifiers for stealth and stuff.
Hmm.
They get for the scouts, not necessarily equipping the scouts,
They
but
can
actually
make they
countering
can
the
make the
scouts.
lank and the lamp, the
Yeah,
lantern
the lamp. Well,
for
yeah, the lamp.
the
I'm sure they could probably make the lamps. I don't know, but they can make the counters for the scout. You know, the
yes,
material to cover walls, the
the traps.
detectors, maybe the traps, the Ghostbuster traps to suck them in.
Yep.
Just don't cross the streams. But and then for the archers, I assume the crafters are probably going to make the camo.
Yes, and the bow and the arrows. We already know
Yeah,
that the archers will be able to do some popcorn crafting to have their own basic arrows, but the more advanced one with special effects will be done by crafters.
yeah. They actually, and one thing they talked about, aside from crafters, back to the Veil Walkers, I'm all over the place. I did want to mention that they talked about their damage being heavily kind of disruption focused,
Yes.
um, which I like because it means that that they're not necessarily doing hard stuns. They possibly could be doing some hard stuns, but they're more
Yeah.
doing interrupting your attacks and stuff. So they're going to keep you from
Hmm.
being able to do a lot of stuff, but not hopefully not completely shut you down.
Yes.
And speaking of cool things that they can do, we got some people in chat back on the scout again. I'm sensing a thing where lots of people like the scout idea.
Yeah. Apparently they do. Yes.
But talking about how you can sabotage people when you're stealth, when you're in your spirit form, they have telekinesis. They can whatever that's
Hmm.
going to mean in the game. They can do telekinesis and they can sabotage. I've been trying to think
That's
of what that means. I mean, it's cool in concept, but I'm like, what does that mean? Does that mean they can blow a hole in the wall, or what do you
mm,
sabotage? Uh,
setting traps inside the keep.
maybe,
Actually.
maybe that would be cool.
They say when they describe the scout, they say a mix of Hawkeye from Last of the Mohicans, Patrick Swayze, and Gremlins, and that Gremlins part, it's just being the pain in the ass to the defenders of the castle.
Yeah,
That's just to me it just sounds hella fun.
it does sound pretty fun. Like, but I try to picture it in my mind. I'm like, what are they going to be sitting over there with their telekinesis and their force push? Like, come up behind someone and push them off the wall. Get out there. That would
That
be
would
pretty
be fun.
fun, actually. I would do that all day.
Making the steps from to go down from the wall slicky so they trip and fall. But yeah, disruption like that
Grow
would be really
moss.
fun. But
Make
yeah,
it make it
that
so
sounds
doors
really
don't
fun.
open. You can't open the door because
Yeah,
I'm holding it closed.
that or actually just disrupt the respawn point. If you have a if defenders can set up a respawn point
I
in their
really hope they
keep,
can't.
making respawn at the respawn point longer or harder, or just completely disrupt the respawn. But yeah, I think they're going to be able to really be a pain in the ass to the defenders.
Ibsen gave me a good idea here. He said they could switch off a stabilizer, perhaps. That actually get one. I think that's
Yeah.
possibly a good idea, but also gave me another idea. Maybe they could switch it off for a short time. But what if there's other devices in the keeps and they can turn those on off, kind of like a ghost flickering your lights on and off? They could go
Yeah,
in there,
that would be fun.
kind of like the respawn thing. Maybe there's a
That'd be
siege
great.
equipment. They can slow
Yeah,
down your siege equipment so it can
opening the gates, opening the gates for
they
you.
make the gates open for 2 seconds and then they close again. I don't know.
Yeah,
It seems like there's a lot of things
there's
they
a
could
lot of
possibly do.
possible. Yeah,
I think
there's a lot
about
of possibilities.
I think about PlanetSide though. You know how there's all kinds of different. I mean, completely different games, but PlanetSide you have all
Yeah.
kinds of different machines and stuff in the bases. You have
Yes.
a machine that spawns vehicles. You have a resource pool that powers the entire base. You know, what if you
The
had
shields.
like
You've
what if
got
you
the
had
shield
power
also.
and someone could go in there and flick the power off the entire station? Obviously, this game's not going to have electricity. What if you had lamps in the keep? Like it goes nighttime. There are lamps in the keep that keep it lit up so that you can see stuff
Oh,
around the keep, and they can go in there and shut them off or something. I
that
don't
would
know.
be great. Also, but yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why everybody is so excited about the scouts is that there's a whole range of things you can do. When they say disrupt things, being an annoyance, people see, as James said, the biggest troll class ever, and that always makes people happy. So
Yeah, I think it. Furlong mentioned having scouts be able to snare someone who, like a Veil Walker who's in stealth, if he can sneak up behind him, being able to snare him. So not only bugging and annoying people in the real world,
yeah,
but also bugging people
but
in the
also
Veil.
in the veil. But apparently, as James said, it's gonna be two different things. The spirit walking will be actually just projecting your
Yeah.
spirit in the real world, while the veil walking will be passing through the veil. So I don't think the two will be able to collide. So it's gonna be two different mechanics.
That is an
And
interesting question, though, because the scout's purpose
yeah,
is to see people in the world and tell people where they are. So, will they be able to have the chance to detect the Veil Walkers, or will Veil Walkers just completely
it
transcend them in stealth?
depends how they treat the actual detection. They might be when you're in spirit form, your hearing is enhanced. So the noise made by the veil walkers while in the veil is enhanced, or vision. You see an outline of them in the world, things like that. So that might also be a possibility.
Yeah, I think personally, I wouldn't want scouts to be able to just detect Veil Walkers, Veil Stalkers, because they are kind of the pinnacle of stealthers, and they're going into the Veil. But I think it would be interesting if maybe they could have an ability or something where they could possibly detect that they're there, not see them, not be
Yeah.
like there's a Veil Walker over there, but maybe they have like a scan or something where they can stop in an
Disturbance.
area and they can be like, whoa,
There's a
whoa, whoa.
disturbance in the
There's a
force.
disturbance in the force. Yes, someone is here sneaking around.
Yeah.
And then they could at least report back and go, there's stealthers over here somewhere doing stuff. I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something.
Yeah. And but so far of the three sound really cool. But of the three, I think the one I'm most likely to make and the one that I'm really excited about is the Archer.
Yeah. One with the
Uh,
least stealth.
because yes, but I've always been a sniper at heart. So to me, it's the pinnacle of the fantasy world sniper. You have your camo, you're high on a hill, lying down with your camo. Nobody sees you, and then you got one guy passing, and then you just pump him through full of arrows, and that's just one thing I really enjoy.
Me too. So we've covered pretty much all the stealth stuff. I don't think there's anything else in the
I'm
update.
wondering actually, when they talk about they mention both Veil Walkers and Veil Stalkers. I'm wondering what exactly will be the if there's going to be a separation between the two, or if it's just because they haven't decided exactly on the name.
That confused me too because the first couple times they mentioned it, I assumed they were supposed to be two different classes, and that
Yes,
one's
two.
purpose was to hunt the other one, and then the other one was to
Yes,
hunt actual people. But in this last update for the stretch goal, they didn't really separate them. They just said Veilwalkers, Veilstalkers, and then they talked.
yes,
So
exactly.
it is kind of weird. I don't know if they expect those to be two different, and they said three. They said three types
Yeah.
of
So
stealthers. So I mean that doesn't necessarily mean there's only
but
three classes.
yes, because even if the Veil Stalkers and Veil Walkers are two different classes, it's still the same stealthing mechanics.
Hmm. And I
I
imagine
think
what
that's
we may have is what we may end up having is maybe the Tuatha have Veil Stalkers and the Vikings have Veil Walkers, or they
yeah,
might have
the
different names
non-mirror
per faction.
classes. Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
since not all the classes are mirrored, um, so we don't know for sure. It may be a little bit different. Um,
So they guaranteed us that we'll have at least apparently the archer and the scout at launch,
yes.
but that the Veil Walkers and Veil Stalkers might not make it if it pushes the launch date too far.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's a precautionary thing on their part. I don't
Yeah.
think they necessarily suspect that they will push it back too far, but
Mhm.
I think they're primarily saying that
They're
because
being
they're being
they're being
cautious.
cautious.
They don't
Yeah.
want to promise it for launch and then end up having to push it back or tell us
Yeah.
no, it doesn't go. I'm hoping they get in for launch because if they don't, I think that's kind of
Yes.
problematic. Um,
Yeah. In a game like that, adding new classes after launch is going to make it hard for those classes to make it in the population, because the way the leveling system works, it doesn't encourage people to make alts.
yeah,
So adding new classes is gonna be tough for that class to really pick up for people to reroll to that class.
yeah, I think it's really important to try to get in all the core classes before the game launches. I think with the more horizontal structure, I think it'll be possible to start up a character later on and still be okay and catch it up. At least that's my hope. But a lot of people aren't necessarily going to want to do that as much. So, um,
Yeah.
and Rhaegar was saying that the scout is the one that they were saying they will get in if
Okay.
they
Yeah.
can. Yeah,
Yeah. I guess it's because really the one that the gameplay has never been done before. So
it
it's
is.
probably the one that is gonna be the hardest to implement.
Yeah, the veil aspect itself is probably not that difficult to do. I mean, look at
Yeah.
like we mentioned on previous casts. You look at World of Warcraft. When you die, you go into this weird
Exactly.
sepia version of the world that's slightly misty, and you just walk around. There's no NPCs. It's been done.
Yeah.
It's not like a brand new
It's
thing or
not that
anything.
hard. Yeah.
So
It's just mostly visual effects.
yeah, mechanically, that's probably not
Compared.
that difficult to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Programming the disruption and stuff that may be
That's gonna be another story. Yeah.
that may be different in some
That
fashion.
that definitely is gonna be cool.
All right, so I did want to also mention a more recent update that they had that they added for everything this past week. They gave us some more information on not beta testing, alpha testing and everything, but they also announced the Mod Squad, not to be televised. Where they are asking for people who have like front end web design experience, JavaScript experience, all that kind of stuff, to go over the official forums, and they are going to be looking for people to help them work on the user interface for the game, work on making it amazing, and work on making mods for the game just amazing.
Yeah.
So that's gonna thing. I just wanted to throw that up real quick and kind of remind people about it in case anybody does have those skills. My own web design skills are a bit too mediocre to help them.
I wish I could help because it really sounds cool.
It does.
I just want to clarify also, it's not really mods that they're gonna develop, but it's add-ons for the UI.
Yeah.
To be precise, because some people might be confused. Even in games that we know don't support mods, people still think when you say mod, they think mods like in Skyrim, instead of just add-ons for the UI.
Yeah.
So that's
I consider
just
an add-on
making
to
the
be a
UI.
mod.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I don't.
I
I
consider
don't.
them to be the same thing, and I figure that. All right, let me rephrase that. I figure people should know that how to what degree of mods are allowed is entirely up to the developer.
Yeah. And still, there's still people questioning it. So
But yeah, yeah, but they will be getting people to help them work on the user
yes,
interface to make it not only awesome but more receptive to future add-ons and everything for the game.
yes,
To try to make this game very add-on friendly. So, if you're one of those people with that skill, or you know a backer with that sort of skill set, go to the official forums and find the topic on there so that you can
apply there.
get a hold of them. Otherwise, we are pretty much.
Also, in the same update, we could remind if we have viewers that actually haven't backed the game yet, that you can back the game with a beta 1 level, and you will get access. Now they are opening every other Friday the alpha build to beta 1 backers for the Friday night fights, which are free-for-all PvP events in the alpha map until they develop a new one.
Yeah, and beta 1, it's not that expensive. It's really
No,
not. It's slightly more expensive than just buying a new game. So if you haven't backed already, or you're backed a really low tier, you can bump up to that and get some alpha access. However, it is technical alpha still. It's very
yes,
rough. It's not a super pretty thing. Don't expect to go in there and see a beta game. You're gonna be standing around shooting things with one or two couple abilities and stuff. Don't expect the moon. It's not an early access sort of thing.
yeah,
So this is the point where I would be turning off the recording if I were recording this, but I'm gonna make Ziz have to do that.
yeah. Make him work.
I don't want to have to. I didn't think about doing it before I started the stream, and I don't want to have to send him the whole recording over Skype or something anyway. So he'd then have to download it from me. So at least the screens aren't flickering with chat things this time. Last time I did it, they were going bugga, 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 bugga the whole time, and he was fussing at me about it.
Yeah, sometimes we do that also, Ibsen. And Gems, to counter the scouts, it's gonna be actually apparently they're thinking about giving mages some detection magic and making the crafters craft detection traps or detection items to counter the scouts.
I think it would be cool if mages could kind of be involved, not in the against the Veil Walkers and Veil Stalkers in a super strong way, but if they have some kind of means of detecting different things. I was saying earlier on that I really wanted them to have some kind of buildings or something that could detect stealthers. So I think it would be really cool if crafters can build like stealth detecting lampposts or something, and
Yes,
the stealthers
and
can see them and be like, I just avoid that area and I sneak around.
that, and also traps, because as they said, you can actually hold the soul away from the body, and then it's gonna be hard for the scout to actually retrieve his soul, because then they're really weakened until they get reunited with their soul. So, chat, if you have any other question or comments that you want to discuss, just don't hesitate.
Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know why, James, you have issues with our stream on Twitch. I have no freaking idea why. If you refresh this a lot, sometimes I've noticed Twitch logs me out of chat, which is really annoying. It doesn't do it once. It only does it once. Like sometimes it'll do it, and it only does it once. I'll be sitting here, I've already gone in and said something in chat, and then 3 minutes later, I try to type something, and it's like, you've logged out. I'm like, no, I didn't. I had the screen up the whole time. I hate you.
Yeah. And for once, my camera didn't freeze during the stream.
Yeah. That's true.
First time in a while.
Apparently, your connection to me is better than your connection to Ziz. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Ziz's internet. That's the problem. Or maybe there were being 3 people on the stream caused issue too.
Yeah, I might.
But yeah.
I've never played War, Rhaegar, so I don't know exactly how the stealth worked there.
Rhaegar.
It's in the chat.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I played. I
No,
played
Donnie,
one of the.
we're not.
I played one of the one of the witches. Crap, what were they called? Not witches.
Warlocks.
No, it was witch something or something witch.
Okay.
I can't remember. I played one briefly in Warhammer. I can't remember what they called now. It's been so long.
Okay.
Anyway, I played one of those for a while just because it was a mostly naked chick running around with knives, and that was awesome. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to stab some people. I sucked with it. I was so bad. I played it for like a week. Yeah, Witch Hunter. And I was so bad. I played it for like a week. I was just terrible, and so I stopped it, and I was like, forget this. I'm going to go play a sorceress. I was much better as a sorceress.
Yeah.
Witch Elf. That sounds better. Sounds closer. I don't know. Whatever it was. Mostly nude chick with knives. That's what I'm calling it.
Yeah.
We can have that in this game,
that
too.
Works too. That works too. That's a good name for a class.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would be pretty popular.
So, several people are now screaming. Several women are like, how dare you.
I'm surprised I didn't see something flying towards you from Sarah.
Yeah. Actually, I think she played a witch elf too in Warhammer. Now that I think about it, she usually doesn't have problems with the female characters having like skimpy clothing. That usually doesn't bother her. It doesn't bother me. What bothers me is when the men can't also have skimpy clothing. Like that bugged me in SW Tour. They came out with like the slave girl Leia outfit for chicks, and I was like, now why is this restricted to females only? Why can my character not put this on? I call BS. Because I would have done it. I would have put it on and started strutting around the station.
That's one thing I like also about CU is that so far what we've seen from the armors, they look pretty realistic in terms of protection.
Yeah, which is really nice. I mean, I certainly am not offended by like the skimpy armor for chicks because I'm a guy and I like seeing chicks draw in skimpy armor, but realistically it is kind of annoying in that regard because like how has she got higher AC than me? She's wearing nothing.
Pretty much. And yeah, Rhaegar, they won't have a time limit on the stealth for the Veil Walkers and Veil Stalkers. The only time limit you'll have is the amount of damage you can take getting out of the Veil.
Which may set a time limit because they did not necessarily say it wouldn't kill you.
Exactly.
I'm assuming it'd be pretty hard for it to kill you. I think you'd have to be in there a long time. But it'd be interesting to see how they. It'd be interesting to see how they show it. Like I imagine on your health bar, maybe it'll show how much damage you're accruing. I think that would be a good way to do it, so that then when you come out, you at least know what's going to happen.
See, like an overlay on your health bar.
Yeah.
That grows the longer you stay. Yeah, that might be you. Or it's a hit or miss. You don't know how much you pissed off the Veil. So
both would be good for certain ways, but I could see people really wanting to know.
One day you stealth for 3 hours, you get out, you're still half health. And the other day, you made something that pissed off the Veil, and you stay for 15 minutes, and you get like 2 HP left.
Or maybe it shows you how much it's going to be, but there is the possibility that the Veil could crit on you, and do like double damage. So you got to look at it. And you're like, okay, I know if he crits, there's only like a 5% chance he's gonna crit, but if it crits, I'm gonna lose that much.
Yeah. And no arcane. Apparently, you won't be able to heal yourself in the Veil because the damage you take is not while you're in the Veil; is when you exit the Veil. So you won't take any damage in the Veil.
I want sandwiches. Sandwich.
Veil sandwiches.
Veil
Interesting.
witches. It's veil witches. My delicious bologna veil witch. Some nice deli mustard on it.
Yeah.
That's
And
plus
yeah,
1 HP
Rhaegar,
right there.
that's what we were saying at the end of the show, that the way they were talking about it before, during the Kickstarter, and later after that, was that Veilwalkers and Veilstalkers were apparently two different classes, one being the counter for the other. But the way they presented it in the stretch goal, it sounds like it's the same. They didn't make any difference between the two classes, so
And it may just
we
be
don't.
one class with two different spec trees, talent trees.
Yes, exactly.
Um,
Like they said for the scout that can level his skills on his corporal body, or level his skills on his soul.
I have no
That
idea
might be.
about sandwiches, so I just know that I kind of want one. I ate breakfast this morning, and I was hoping that would tide me over till dinner, but I don't know. Now I want a sandwich, and I have no
That's what you
sandwich
get.
materials.
Too bad.
Have some ramen. Can I get some veil ramen?
Some Veil ramen.
I made some amazing ramen the other night. It was pretty awesome. I stir fried it. It was cool. It was great.
Well, you can still stay at AFK in the Veil and eat your sandwich. You might not be alive when you come back, but you still can do it.
Yeah, somebody else in the veil may kill you, or you may decide to pop out of the veil and take 3,000 damage. And
Ouch.
the veil is the true one-shot killer.
That's the one who just one-shots you.
Anyway, well, I guess we've pretty much covered the topic, so I want to
Yep.
thank everybody for coming out. And for episode 16, Stealth has arrived. We will go and... There I go for what? Ramen burger? Oh, God, that looks awful. I do not want that. That looks terrible. But anyway, thank you all for coming out, and we will catch you in 2 weeks, Saturday after next, where we will have episode 17. Who knows what we're talking about?
We'll see. They seem to be putting out a lot of news from now on. Hopefully the trend
info?
will stay.
Class info?
Yeah.
I want it.
Race is info.
I want class info. I want race info too, but I want class info. Basic class info.
Yes.
Just these people do this, these people do this. Cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I really hope they keep the trend of putting out a lot of infos every week. That's gonna be great.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe in 2 weeks we'll have class info. Probably not. Maybe. Could happen. Probably not.
One can only hope.
We'll find out.